Hey, awesome people of YouTube, welcome back to another Baldur's Gate 3 build guide. In this one, we're going to be talking about probably one of the more famous builds is Gloomstalker Assassin. But before we get started, I just want to say thank you everybody who's been watching. And if you want to, you can help the channel by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing, and especially sharing. This helps the channel tremendously. Also, if you want to see another build guide, you can let me know down in the comments. And if you don't do that, you can let me know down in Discord. The link is in the description, and we can talk about a bunch of different stuff. Also, in there you'll see when I go live, because I do have a schedule. I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting from 4 p.m. But I do have unscheduled streams sometimes. And very soon I will be starting my animal playthrough. Probably next Monday. I'll let you know when I get a little bit closer. But Monday or Wednesday next week will be when I start it. With all that said, let's get into the build guide. Right? So we're going to be doing Gloomstalker Assassin. Pretty fun, pretty strong build. So for your starting race, you can pick either Dwarf Dragar for your resilience, superior dark vision, and Dwarven combat training. You can also go with Lightfoot Halfling for them being lucky, brave, and actually being naturally stealthy. Another good one for Githyanki with Half Elf, Deep Gnome, and Drow. Right? You're gonna start your first level as a ranger, right? And you want to pick your things. You can go with Bounty Hunter. You gain proficiency in investigations. Creatures you hit with ensnaring strike at the melee range have disadvantage on their saving throws. Another decent one is Keeper of the Veil. You get a spell protection from evil and good, and it does not cost any spell slot. No, it's useful in some situation, but it's not as great. I personally pick Bounty Hunter, right? That's for your favorite enemy. For your natural explorer, you can go with Urban Tracker, Beast Tamer, or Wasteland Wanderer. Urban Tracker is pretty good. What it does is gain proficiency in sleight of hand. So if you want to be a little bit more stealthy, Urban Tracker is nice. Beast Tamer is if you want to have a familiar without expending a spell slot. Not amazing, but not bad. Or you can go with Wasteland Wanderer, right? Because it gives you resistance to fire damage, and there's a lot of stuff that does fire damage, so that is pretty good. But then the choice is yours, right? We'll talk over your background. You can go with Urchin, Criminal, or Charlatan. Urchin gives you sleight of hand and stealth. Criminal gives you deception and stealth, and Charlatan gives you deception and sleight of hand. All are useful, not just for the roleplay purpose, but they're all pretty good skills, and they're pretty worth it. For your ability score, what you want to do is you want to go with something probably around this, right? If you want to, you can even just dump strength and go something like this. So strength is not needed, but you want to have at least 10 just so you don't get negative on strength checks and strength saving throws, right? Dexterity, you want to have 15 with +2 from apply bonuses, because you will get anti-Ethelhair if you can to get your dexterity to 18, and then eventually with the ASI or ability score improvement up to 20. And it's not only is it just your gives you armor class. Eventually, if you're using medium armor, you can only give you +2, but it also gives you initiative, and that is your weapon damage. So the higher dexterity, the more damage you do, and the higher your initiative will be. The reason why we'll go Constitution is, well, actually, for this, I'll probably go something like this, just for 16, because it allows you to be more tanky by giving you a lot more hit points and allowing you to have decent time passing Constitution saving throws. Intelligence is not important. Charisma is not important unless you're doing it as a main party phase. If you aren't, if you're using like a Starion for it, then you don't need Charisma. But if you are going to be using as your main character, having at least 10 Charisma so you don't get negative. Wisdom is good, not just because it gives you perception rolls, but it also allows you to have better time having a saving throws against spells. Right? Now for skill efficiency or proficiency, that is up to you. You get a few of them. Animal handling is not bad. Survival is also not bad. It depends on your background. The good ones is obviously acrobatics, stealth, sleight of hand, perception, survival, and insight. But I already have some of them at +5, so we'll go with athletics, animal handling, and well, survival. And that is your level 1. Pretty self-explanatory. Also, the build, you can go with just a big bow, a crossbow, or dual wield crossbows, like the ones that I have. But we'll talk about them a little later. For your level 2, you stick with the ranger. Right? You get new spells and you gain a passive. So for spells, definitely take Ensnaring Strike if you took a Bounty Hunter, because that will be helpful. You can also take Cure Wounds or, well, Speak with Animals. Speak with Animals is pretty cool. If you have nobody that has that or can't get it for free, definitely take it. Right? Now you get your fighting style, aka your passive. There's only one choice for it, and it's go Archer, because you get +2 bonus to ranged weapon attacks. Pretty powerful for level 2. Right? At level 3, you get your specialization. And we are also going to get an extra spell. That's up to you. You can go with Hunter's Mark. You can go Beastmaster, Hunter, but none of those are good because you're Gloomstalker Assassin. The only obvious choice is Gloomstalker. You get a cool thing called Dread Ambusher. It gives you +3 to initiative. And you get +3 to movement speed on your first attack, and you can do an additional 1d8 damage for free. So you have your basic attack, and if you're using hand crossbows, you can do your action, your bonus action, and Dread Ambusher. So pretty cool. You also get Superior Dark Vision, Dread Ambusher Hide, Umbra Shot, and Disguise Self. Pretty nice for level 3. Okay. Level 4, you get a beautiful feat and a few other stuff. So for feat, there's only one good choice, and its start might not be as as effective, but it actually is Sharpshooter. Your ranged weapon attacks do not receive penalties from high ground, and ranged weapon attacks with weapons you're proficient with have -5 penalty to their attack rolls, but they deal additional 10 damage. You can tackle that part off. Even if you can't keep it on, turned on because you have a low chance of hitting, just being able to bypass the high ground penalty rules is massive. So instead of being hitting the enemy with 50% chance over hit, you go up to 65-70% because you're ignoring the high ground penalties, which is pretty good in itself, especially early on. Right? And if you can go with all in, that is especially good. At level 5, you get a beautiful extra attack. Level 2 spell slot and the Misty Steps are pretty good. For your spell slot, you can go Pass Without Trace if you're especially going a lot of stealthy, because it gives you +10 to stealth checks. Not just for you, but for your companions. Right? That's it for level 5. Just being able to get extra attack is huge. Now level 6, we are not staying as Ranger. We're gonna multi-class into Rogue. Right? So as Rogue, you get Sneak Attack melee and Sneak Attack range and light armor proficiency. Sneak attacks are pretty good. You get more skill proficiencies, that is up to you. Acrobatics is not bad. If you don't go with that, there's the other ones that you can go with, like Persuasion, Performance, Intimidation, and Deception are all good. Personally, I would pick probably Persuasion if it's my main, or not Persuasion, sorry, Intimidation or Deception. It's up to you. And you get skill expertise. You can see I got Sleight of Hand at +7 and Stealth at +7. So are pretty good. Now at level 2, you get some cool stuff. Cunning Action High, Dash, and Disengage. Pretty good, but not super OP. Right? They can be pretty good in certain situations. Now at level 8, you get a Rogue level 3 and you can get your specialization. So there's 3. There's Thief, Arcane Trickster, and Assassin. Thief can be useful, but you are going for Gloomstalker Assassin because you are the deadliest against unprepared enemies. In combat, you have advantage on attack rolls against creatures that have not taken a turn yet. And any successful attack roll against a surprise creature is a critical hit. And you get Assassin Alacrity. quick as an alley cat in the rain dark city. You immediately restore action bonus action at the start of the combat. So what you can do is actually surprise the enemy before you actually get into a battle by attacking them, especially if you use the dual hand crossbow. So you can attack them and boom, you have your action and bonus action right away. So pretty strong. Now at level 4 or level 9 overall, level 4, you get an extra feat. So here it becomes a little tricky. If you're gonna also be up front, you can go with dual wielder. If you are not going for gloves, or you can go with ASI. Right? What dual wielder does, it's pretty good stuff. Is you can use 2 weapon fighting even if your weapons are light. You gain +1 to bonus, +1 bonus to armor class while wielding a melee in each hand. You can now wield heavy weapons. So it is melee. For ranged, it's a little different. Right? If you don't want to use that, ability score improvement is pretty nice, which allow you to get your dexterity to 20 if you took anti-ethel hair. If you're not, you only get to 19. Right? Now at level 10, we're gonna multi-class again because we're not sticking with a rogue. We are gonna multi-class into a fighter, and the reason why is we get to have another fighting style. Right? And that is pretty good, and you get second wind, which gives you health. And for your fighting style, you're gonna go with defense because it gives you +1 to armor class while wearing armor. Well, you can also go with 2 weapon fighting, but that's up to you. Right? Now at level 11, which unfortunately I do not have on this character, you're going to be sticking with fighter because you get an action surge, which restores all your action points. It's pretty massive. At level 12, you stick with the fighter, you get level 3, and you can go with battle master for superiority die. And you get maneuvers like disarming attack, menacing attack, pushing attack, and troop attack, also pretty good. Or if you want to have a little bit more of a crit, you go with a champion. Right? In Act 1, you can pick up anti-ethel hair to get +1 to dexterity, and in Act 3, you can get Mirror of Loss for an extra 2 dexterity and get an extra 2 from ASI or ability score improvement. Now let's talk about gear, because gear can determine if your build is good or not. So, if you are going to be ranged double crossbow or hand crossbow, just pick any hand crossbow. Right? For melee, if you're going to dual wield pretty much any dagger, or you can go with Sword of Scream or Falar Aloof. If you get to Rosemary Monastery, you can get yourself a knife on Under Mountain King. Pretty strong. Right? For your your shield, if you're not using daggers or if you're using a sword and that, you can go with Adamantine Shield, where you reduce critical damage taken. Right? For your helmet, Haste Helmet is pretty good, gives you more movement. If you are playing as Dark Urge, Deathstalker Mantle is pretty good. For your armor, you can go with Spider Silk Armor, or if you get to Rosemary Monastery, you can get yourself a Graceful Cloth, which gives you +2 to dexterity up to a maximum of 20. Pretty good. But it's a cloth and it only gives you 10 armor. For gloves, you want to go with Gloves of Archery, because they give you proficiency with longbows and short bows, but the big thing is they give you an additional 2 damage. Pretty awesome in the early game. For boots, you go with Disintegrating Nightwalkers. They're pretty OP boots. For amulet, Misty Steps, just free Misty Steps. What else can you say? For your weapons, you can go with Caustic Band, giving you a little bit more damage. You can go with another good one is Smuggler's Ring and Strange Conduit Ring. For mid game, for level Act 2, you can go with Knife of the Undermodern King. It's pretty good. For ranged, if you want to use a bow, you can go with Darkfire Short Bow. Or you can stick with a full on range setup. Still use a knife of the Modern King, right? And have an adamantine shield because that's pretty good. For your helmet, you want to use marksmanship hat because, well, it gives you +1 to range attack rolls and throw attack rolls. For your weapons or for your ranged weapons, you definitely want to get a Never Misser because it gives you not only 7 to 12 damage, but it also gives you 1d6 force damage. And then you can also get yourself a Hellfire Hand crossbow, which have a possibility of inflicting burning when hitting a creature with this weapon while hiding or invisible, and it gives you level 3 Scorching Ray or Scorching Ray for free. Right? Another good helmet, sorry, back to that, is Scouted Cowl. It increases the success, increases the chance of getting crit, right? And itself is pretty cool. I don't believe I have it saved up, which is very unfortunate. I don't, right? But it is still pretty good. For your cloak, if you're not Dark Urge, you definitely go with the Cloak of Protection because it gives you +1 to saving throws and +1 to armor class. For your chest piece, well, you can go with Yanti Scale Mail because it adds your full dexterity modifier to your armor class. Additionally, it does not impose disadvantages on stuff ability checks, and it gives you +1 to initiative roll. Pretty massive, but you can go with Dark Justiciar half plate, you know, it's also not bad. For helmet or for gloves, pretty good ones are their Dark Justiciar gauntlets and Flood Heldaskar gloves because your weapon attacks deal an additional 1d4 fire damage, and they can pass, yeah, that's it, and it gives you strength saving throw. For boots, Disintegrated Nightwalker's pretty OP. For amulet, definitely keep Mystic Steps, but you can definitely go with Surgeon Subjugation Amulet. Once per long rest, when scoring a critical hit on humanoid, the wearer can paralyze the target for 2 turns. It is pretty amazing, as you can see. For rings, Caustic Band and Risky Ring are pretty good, but you can go with Mage Hand. It's up to you. Now for Act 3, for your final build setup. If you're using melees, definitely go with Blade of the First Blood and Crimson Mischief, or you can go Render of Mind and Body. If you're using bows, go with the Deadshot. Or you can also go with Gunther Mail. It is a legendary, but it is a rare, very powerful. Or you can still stick with a dual hand crossbow like I am. For your helmet, Saravak Horn Helmet is pretty good, and Helm of the Baldur are pretty amazing. You can also go with this one, Mask of the Soul Perception. You gain +2 bonus to attack rolls, initiative roll, and perception check, which is pretty good. Initiative rolls allow you to go faster. And if I can check, my initiative is +10, so I usually go first. For your cloak, you can stick with the Deathstalker Mantle if you have it. You can go with Cloak of Displacement or Shade Slayer Cloak. For armor, Ballast Armor is not bad, but that is if you are more up close. If not, Armor of Agility. For gloves, the Helldusk gloves that you get from a very special place in there is pretty amazing. For boots, Helldusk boots, but you can also keep the Disintegrating Nightwalkers. For amulet, you can get Broodmother's Revenge, but I suggest sticking with Surgeon Subjugation Amulet. Now for rings, Caustic Band and Strange Conduit are pretty amazing. All of those stuff are pretty amazing, and you can get most of it relatively easy, right? But that is gonna be it for this build. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And do let me know down in the comments if you think this build is good, what you would change about it, if you prefer hand crossbows or bows, or just straight up crossbows. But with that said, don't forget to stay awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.